All right, we're live. So what's up, everybody? I'm the stereotypical Marquise here for another game. Tonight we're going to be playing Blades in the Dark. So if you don't know what Blades in the Dark is, it's very simple. Imagine Ocean's 11 and then take the entire world at that kind of game that movie is set inside of, right? Add some magic to it, some Victorian steampunk stuff, and then make a ghost apocalypse and then make everything down to one city surrounded by electricity to keep the apocalypse out. And you have this world, which is called Duskvol, or Wall of Dusk, or City Dusk, or whatever crazy name that people are coming with it up at the time. For this game, we'll be calling it simply Duskfall. So we have three people with us tonight. We have Chris Wilwell, which everyone should know, Lloyd Collins, and then Jeff Doty. I played with all three of these guys before. This is Lloyd's first time playing Blades in the Dark. Chris is very experienced with it, and Jeff has played in Chris's campaign with it. So different levels of experience with it here. Shooting for a short, quick, fun game. So we're just going to jump straight into it. So here's the first thing that the camera sees. The camera sees white. And then as the camera zooms out from that white, it realizes that that's not white, it's transparent. And as it zooms out from this transparent square filling the camera, you see detail. You see whiskers, and then those whiskers become a beard, and around that beard is a jaw and a nose. You see the nose is broken all the way to the side with blood coming out of it, but the blood isn't red, the blood is black, the blood is green, the blood is steam rising up into the air. See the jaw and how it hangs down, hanging low, disconnected at the cheeks, barely connected at the neck itself, the tongue lolling out, the flesh once pink, once red, now black, an ichor, a foulness. This is a spirit, an aberration, a ghost. It is something that is dead, and it is howling and screaming. And the camera pulls out even more, further and further and further. You see this vast landscape, nothing but rolling, rocky, craggy, gray hills. See the horizon. The horizon is a long sword lying down, right? Splitting sky from heaven. Sorry, sky from earth, heaven from earth. See, the sky itself is black. It's night. There are no stars. And even when the sun does rise, if there even is a sun anymore, it's just a small gray thing, still dark, too dark to see with just human eyes this far in the abyss. And the camera keeps pulling back further and further, and you see water, and you see shadows in the water, shadows that don't belong to fish or to men, but to something more dangerous and destructive yet. And then further back, you see this metal post. This metal post juts out of the water. It is slate gray. At the top of it is a gemstone, a long, big, cylindrical gemstone, cracking with blue-green electrical lights. And the camera rotates around this gemstone, and on the horizon behind it, you see the city, Duskfall. Knocked over skyscrapers, short, squat buildings, ghettos and factories, no castles, no big, beautiful Empire State buildings, and nothing nearly as modern or contemporary, but long, tall, stocky, gray concrete buildings. And the camera moves through these streets, and you see the people, and it goes into one place in particular. Tell me, Lloyd, what's your character's name? Where is he eating his supper at tonight? And what kind of shitty hole-in-the-wall food is he eating?
Caro is sitting in the lair, this old textile factory. It's broken windows all over. These like old dusty ass machines. There's this smell of like what was once industry but is now just mold and damp in this place. And he would be sitting in a corner with this little bowl of this stew, just looking, and then with three fingers just reaching in and pulling out a particularly juicy, oh, it's not juicy, he puts it back and he's like looking through for whatever chunks are in this thing. It's so thin and so weak. He's like trying to find something worth eating in it. He like looks up and down a few times and then puts it down.
Perfect. I love it. And what's the name of this place, Kara?
The name of this place?
Yeah, that you're eating.
Oh, I don't know what it is.
Perfect. That's fine.
Yeah, it's just some shit I got on the street off this like vendor. It's probably rat, if I'm honest, but it was cheap at least.
I love it. So the camera pulls away from you, and you see the patrons in this quote-unquote fine establishment. Everyone's dirty. They're covered in soot, or they're covered in ash, or they're covered in sweat. Usually they're covered in all three. They wear rags for the most part. Clothes that would be nice on a nobleman or someone who is rich, but on the poor, where you can only afford one jacket every 6 months, if you're lucky, it's nothing. It's terrible. Fingerless gloves everywhere. Scarves that are dirty and frayed. Everything's rat-eaten or moth-eaten, or usually both as well. And you're sitting at this table, this stone table, on a wooden chair, if you can even call it a chair. There's no back, there's no arms to it. And the camera turns away from you to the entrance to this fine establishment. And this entrance is basically just a wooden door carved into rock, right? Carved into the concrete itself, just cut out of it. And that wooden door opens, and another one of you three bastards come in.
Oh,
I was gonna say, Jeff, if you could introduce yourself. I'm currently stuck with loud noises for the moment.
All right, yeah. So we would just see this man. I think we might have lost Marquise. Actually,
he's
too.
gone. Yeah, he's frozen.
Oh.
Oh.
Don't know what that was. Apparently my internet disconnected. Give me 1 second. Can anyone see me? Nope.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
You can? You can. Okay, good. All right.
Yeah.
So continuing. Sorry about that. What's the last thing you heard me say, Jeff?
You said, and another one of you three bastards walks in the door.
Yes, another one of you three bastards walks in the door. So, Jeff, I want you to tell me, what's the name of your character? And did he come here looking for Caro? Or did he come here because he's just looking for something to eat tonight?
So Milo, or just Blink, as the crew would know him, would step into the door. He's got a long, heavy coat, but it's like patched and torn, ragged and dirty like the rest of everybody's things in this godforsaken place. And he would step into the door and see Caro there. I imagine that he was trying to find just food, actually, and he just happened to stumble into the same place by chance.
Caro would look and see you, and you would see his bowl is full. He hasn't actually eaten any of it. He would quickly wipe his fingers in his coat, and he would offer you the bowl and pull out from his pocket this long pipe and would stuff something from a pocket into it and smoke. Oh damn, gone again.
Lost him again.
Wah wah. Hey.
Wowzers. Hey, everybody. I'm the DM tonight. Nice to meet you. Sorry, I heard that you were offering him something and you pulled out a pipe, so.
Yeah, basically, Caro had eaten none of his food. He's going to offer, the very heavily, mauled bowl, although maybe Blink wouldn't have seen that to Blink.
I love it.
Yeah, Blink sits down. He picks up the bowl and kind of stirs through it. I imagine going through a similar process of there's got to be something in here that's at least edible. Quickly realizes that there's not, and just sets the bowl back down without touching it either, and just lets out a sigh as he sits down.
No smoking in here, you bastards. I told you this before. And you hear the voice coming from whoever is the manager of this place. He's behind this silk curtain door at the back of the restaurant, and he peeks his head in and out so fast you don't catch his actual face. But you hear what he says. So do you guys respond to that? Do you just keep smoking, Caro, or no?
I think he looks briefly in that direction, then back at the tightly packed pipe. And he looks at Blink are we going to make a scene here? Is this what's going to happen over smoking? Because for Caro, he doesn't mind going outside, but he knows that the reputation is pretty important.
Yeah, Blink would just kind of shrug his shoulders wordlessly and kind of just like nod down to his side where you're sure that he has some sort of weapon. Like they always have something just in case, and just kind of give you this like side look, like if you want to fight, make a fight out of this, I got your back. But
And
he's not gonna push it.
as you make that side eye to him, Blink, you see a shadow behind Blink, Crow, and Chris. Go ahead and describe for me your entrance, your character's name, and why your character is here at this moment.
Yeah, Luca, who hates it when they refer to him as Sergeant. His old title as a blue coat comes in, and he's wearing a brown coat that has been stylized to look like what was once his blue coat, but it's fur trimmed. It's a huge collar, and it's like mink on the inside. It's way too ornate. It doesn't fit in with the rest of this room. And what he ends up doing is he walks up to the table, and seeing kind of the tenseness between the two, he just kind of knocks on the table. But somebody who's paying attention will see that what he's knocking on the table with is the bone of a knife that is made with Leviathan bone for the handle.
Sergeant?
You know, I fucking hate that shit. Let me guess, they're getting on you about smoking again.
And Kara like nods and will light the pipe and take this really obnoxiously long pull of the pipe, longer than you think should be possible, and then like releases this cloud of this like thick, almost purple, acrid smoke, and says loudly, "If there was something worth eating in here, I wouldn't have to smoke this." And he starts to slur his words already at the end of that sentence.
Luca kind of smiles to himself and takes a seat, tucking the knife back into his jacket. There's good stuff, but you just have to know what to order. And Luca will order a different dish than the others. I think it's probably something with like a terrible name. It's probably got like a slang word for what this plate is, that its loosest translation is probably like whale fat is kind of the best way to describe what it is. It comes and it looks like a gelatinous pudding, but you both know that this is a choice, so that Luca, or this is like a choice dish for Luca. It's actually like a sweet flan type dessert.
So as this dessert is produced, there's a rustling at a table adjacent to you guys. When I say adjacent, it's just like you can look to your left and see it. And really, it's on the far side of the wall of this shithole, right? And you see this woman kind of stumbling, and then she sneezes at her table and directly into her own bowl of shit food, right? And she looks at it in aghast horror, and she turns, and you see her face. Her face is powdered white. She has red lipstick, black hair that's clearly a wig, and she looks at you with these mascara winged eyes, and she says to you, "Didn't he tell you not to fucking smoke in here?"
And Kara will like look up and there'll be this smile on his face. He'll take another like deep pull of the pipe.
She throws the bowl at your head, Lloyd. Craro.
Kara is too slow to see it coming, and it boom into the forehead.
And the moment she throws it, she's screaming straight at you like she's a bat out of hell, right? She's basically yelling about how you shouldn't be smoking. It's a place where fine people are trying to eat. She's trying to relax. She's tired in the day. Basically, she's telling you to fuck off. What's everyone's reactions?
Hey, how about you shut the fuck up before I do it for you, okay?
She stops for a second, and she looks at you. And then her face contorts into this tapestry of emotions that humans shouldn't be able to do, but this woman is somehow able to manifest. And she says to you, "Do you know who protects me?"
You better hope they're here now. And Kara stands up.
And Luca kind of pushes his little pudding dish forward and sets the spoon down delicately. But they're not here right now. And I'd advise that you watch your tongue when speaking with my friends.
The intimidation is effective, and it's like she just ran into a wall. She actually physically falls back, her ass hitting the stone table, and she's stuttering to herself. And then she quickly gathers herself up and she says, "The Weepers are going to hear about this. Yes, they will. Yes, they will." And then she storms out of the place unless someone tries to stop her. Should be also know that the other like 6 or 7 people in this place are watching, including the manager behind his silk curtain door.
Kara will like look as she walks, and as she like leaves, he'll point 2 fingers at her and he'll say something, and he'll just like be grunting in this language that sounds quite frightening, as if he is cursing her.
She doesn't know if you're actually cursing her or not, but she just thinks you are. So she actually screams and full on runs out of the place.
And then Carl will sit back down. He'll put his feet on the table and take another drag of the pipe.
And the moment you sit down and put that pipe in your lips, everyone goes back to their tables and continues chatting to each other.
You know the ladies aren't going to like this.
Fuck them.
Well, that's my point.
Agreed.
We've been pushing. And while we've managed to get our hands on some of their turf, I think that their piece of the pie is still quite too big. I think it's time we make a move.
They can afford to feed rats like that, then I think I agree. Got too much. We should take some of it off their hands.
And Kara wants to say something clever, but he's too in the opium haze, and he just says again, fuck him.
I love it. All right. So you guys have indicated that you want to make a move, all right, onto the Weeping Ladies themselves. You know who the Weeping Ladies are. They run an almost pseudo-religion around themselves just for the sole fact that they look better. They try to take care of street rats. They protect brothels and all that stuff. But they only do so because that's their end. That's their money. That's their game. And you know this. The manipulators are the highest class in this aspect. Consmen, all of these women. But there's also something else. There's rumors, at least. Crow, you've heard the rumors, some of them, that they are occultists, that they can curse people. Whenever you're kind of like moving around in those circles, Crow, you always hear mention of what the Weeping Ladies may be doing, but never too much. So I'm going to ask you guys 2 questions, and that's A, how do you want to gather information? And B, what's your plan of attack? As in, what's your method of the plan? So for Lloyd, since I know you're not big into this and everything, and I think Chris can adjust me if I'm wrong, but the methods of plans like assault, tricking them, traveling, like as in like sneaking in or something like that, stuff like that. And there's going to be different die rolls for these types of things too. So you guys basically now in the gathering information stage and then telling me how exactly you want to go about this plan. So what do you guys want to do next?
I can make a guess. I would consider using a spirit that they might have used in the past and like compelling it to give me information on the things that it has seen. That would be my attempt, like to summon something that I know has like frequented their area and then try and like either interrogate it or ask it to do a service for me.
All right. So that's going to be an attunement roll. We'll get to that specifically in a second. And the other 2, what are you guys' plans for gathering information?
So I think Luca is going to go to Sawtooth, Physiker. It's his former lover, and see if he can pull some dirt. Sawtooth has been inside Night Market for years and tends to help out pretty much anybody with money.
Perfect. We're going to say that's prowling, maybe. Does that work? Or you can maybe do command or study.
I think honestly, probably the best thing to do is like if I was
Observing?
studying, that would be like observing the situation, trying to gather
Yeah.
information. I am bad at it, but I think consort or sway is probably going to be the options.
All right. So we'll go consort with you, and then blink. What's your kind of method of gathering information here?
Yeah,
What
I
will
think
be my position, by the way?
I will get to that when I get to you guys individually.
Okay.
I think Blink is going to try to get an eye out for the area that they're going to be going to. Just get an eye to try to scout it out, see what kind of place it is, see if he can notice any like certain entrances, where the entrances are, where the exits are, where the traffic tends to be, at certain times of day.
All right. So we can either say study or prowl for that one. Which one are you looking for?
I was thinking, would survey work for that?
Survey? We could do survey for that, actually. All right, so we're going to start with you then, Caro, before we get to the other two. So, Caro, you said that you want to basically perform some kind of ritual, speak to some kind of spirit that frequents the place, and see what you can make happen, right?
Yep. Well, if these rumors are true that they are occultists, I feel like there must be spirits there. And if I can get one of those, that should yield good information.
All right, I can go with that. So what kind of rituals does Caro do? What's the kind of things that he goes about? What does he do these things at?
So Caro has in the lair, a quiet place. There's like an old stairway that leads down to what is now a flooded basement, and he would go there and like sit on the last stair, and he would take off his shoes and his socks and put them in the freezing water. And then he would like begin smoking this opium and all these various things, and just get himself into a ridiculous state. He is an addict of the worst kind, barely functioning. But if you smoke enough of it and you know the right words, you can see things that aren't really there or that other people can't see. And so that's what he's going to try and do, get into this state. And then he also believes that putting his feet in the water, his bare feet, is a connection to the dead, of coldness and of drowning. And so it's a connection for him.
I like it. So since you're in an opium haze, but you're in a place of your control, but you're also kind of fucking with powers that may or may not be under your control, I'm going to say your position for this is going to be risky, all right?
Yep.
And then the effects you're going to have from this is just going to be, I think it's standard, right, Chris, for the normal effect? You're muted. Yeah, okay, bet, standard.
Yeah,
okay, so we're going to go with standard effect on
he would start with standard. However, he does have the option to push himself to get extra effect.
Would you push yourself at all, Carol, or no?
Also, Devil's Bargain could be a good option here.
Yeah, or you could take a Devil's Bargain if you'd like.
I want that Devil's Bargain. I want it so bad.
Do you want to do that now, or do you want to save it?
I don't know.
You can get a Devil's Bargain every time you roll.
Yeah, every single time you want to do a Devil's Bargain, you can get it. But I mean,
it's dangerous.
Makes fun things.
Yeah, it makes your life more complicated, is what ends up happening.
Mm-hmm.
I do like complicated. I think this is a good time for it.
All right.
It's a literal bargain he's making with some sort of spirit, so I like it.
So the cool thing is you get to find out the details and then choose to accept it or not.
Yeah. So 1 second. Devil's Bargain, what I want to do here. So here's what I'm going to say is basically, you can have the extra effect of what it's going to be is that if you succeed on this roll, you will be able to contact a spirit that is directly underneath the actual Weeping Sisters themselves, right? However, okay, the bargain is going to be, I'm trying to think of something that's good for this instead of the traditional stuff.
It could
All
be
right,
something
I'll say this.
As, like they know that we've contacted it.
Yeah, it's cool. Okay, yeah. So basically, it'll be a twofold thing for this. One, they're gonna know that that you contacted them. All right, and you're gonna take 1 stress for it.
Okay.
All right, you want to do it?
Yep.
All right. So let's go ahead and get this rolling. So you have an extra dice from that.
Okay, and that's it, right? I use my attune and that extra dice.
Yep.
Okay.
And tell me what the highest number rolled is.
6.
A 6. Okay, perfect. So it works out without a hitch. So you put your feet into this water and you enter the opium haze. The camera's focusing on your face. And I imagine this is like a movie or a television show. The soundtrack would be something along the lines of that Mongolian throat singing in the background, right?
Definitely.
As your body slowly moves back at the hip until you're fully lying down on the stairs. Your head is twitching like this, your eyes rolling back all the way. The foam doesn't come from your mouth, but smoke and steam comes from your mouth. And the smoke and steam begins to form a figure above you. The figure is clearly feminine. The fingers are slight, the arms long, the face elegant, but there's no real torso or leg, so to speak. And the hands grab the side of your face, Caro. And the face itself, the smoky apparition, this phantasmagoric image, lowers down and it kisses you. And as it kisses you, she flows fully back into your mouth with information. And what was the exact information you're trying to grab at, Caro?
Exact information. That's a good question. Layout of their place would be one that it would know, I think. And no, I think a better one is to do with the occult. It makes more sense. So something like who is their whisperer? Who's their like occultist?
So here's what happens. The smoke flows back into your mouth as your head begins to shake even more violently. And the camera now is zooming in on your eyes. And again, we just see that transparent square that becomes solid white. And then the camera zooms in even more to penetrate that whiteness, right? And now we're in a dark room. The floor is covered in velvet. Beautiful curtains hang over the windows, and they're closed shut by the shadowy figure, right? The camera moves along the room, right? And it's as if you're actually there, Caro. You're moving your head yourself. You control this camera, right? And you're looking around, and you see these candles, these purple, these black, these green, these blue candles everywhere. The fire is the color of the wax themselves, right? Arranged in these elaborate shapes and these designs along the walls and altars. And you see these beautiful flowers fully in bloom, right? But the petals are black. And you see these chicken heads lying. The chicken heads have been cut off of the chickens, and they're sitting in pools of their own blood inside of these bowls. And you see these other women. And then you say a word, Caro. You say a word in a voice not your own. You say, Mary la Vue. And you say it in a feminine voice, as if you're one of the girls who work at this establishment, whose name is the thunder god Bordello, you know now, right? And as you say Mary la Vue, this hooded figure kneeling in front of one of these many candle shrines throws her head back. And you see this absolutely stunning woman. She's black in skin. Her hair is long, it's dreadlocked and braided back, right? It's white in color. And she turns. You can tell she's a woman of age, despite the fact that she's so beautiful, right? You see the wrinkles, but the wrinkles are elegance. And her eyes are like chips of ice, focused so hard, so strong. You feel safe when you look at them, Caro. And then you blink, and you're coughing, and you're throwing up on the stairs you're at as you exit this ritual. And you basically know that Mary la Vue is not only the head mistress of the Thunder God Bello, but also the whisper that's there.
Rad. Perfect. He like throws up into the water where his feet are, and then like for quite a long time. And then he like kicks the water to like move the puke away from his feet before he pulls them out of the water, puts his socks back on without drying his feet, and then puts his shoes on and heads back upstairs.
I love it. The camera moves with you, and as you open the door into the light upstairs, the camera moves through it, and now we're on the streets. We're following around the sergeant himself. The sergeant, you said you wanted to go see an ex-lover, correct?
Yeah, Sawbones, or Sawtooth, rather.
Sawbones. Sawtooth. Sawtooth is a he or a she?
It's a he.
It's a he. All right. So you're going to go see a lover, Sawtooth. Where is Sawtooth at?
So there's, when you look at Night Market, there's like a central courtyard area. I think his apartment or estate like apartment, because he's probably got like a higher end apartments being a doctor, is probably not in that courtyard, but just adjacent. Like it's definitely still a high value property. And Luca is walking down the street and kind of like rubbing his own nose, and just to kind of start the conversation, because Luca hates trying to bring business without something else there. Luca takes his hand, and you hear the crunching sound as he shifts his nose over.
And are you already with Luca now walking down the street?
No, I'm not with Sawtooth yet.
Okay,
I'm breaking my nose before coming in, so I have an excuse.
Got you. I like it. So as you break your nose, I'm gonna say that's just gonna be like a level 1 wound. Is that all right? Or harm, I mean, or stress. We could go with stress.
I was gonna say, yeah, I'm okay with it being stress. I think that's fair.
Yeah. So you break your
what
nose.
I'll do is I'm actually gonna push myself for the interaction, and then I'll take 2 stress, which will be symbolizing my nose breaking.
Okay, yeah, I was going to give you a free dice for it anyway because that was really cool. So that works out.
Okay.
If you just want to go ahead and do the 2 stress. Okay, so you break your nose, you take the 2 stress, you go into his apartment. Imagine it's like that classical tropey shitty apartment complex, right? Where the stairs just went up and up again. You had people on the stairwells and old hag women yelling at their tenants and everything and throwing hot water at other people and all that.
It's like really pretty on the outside, but it's just a slum apartment.
Yeah. Have you ever seen like the new Blade Runner movie? It's like Ryan Gosling's own complex.
Mm-hmm.
So you're walking up the steps, people are shouting random bullshit at you, right? And you finally get to his own door, right? And when you open, actually, do you knock or do you just go in?
Yeah, I think Luca knocks now. They're still getting along and they're still lovers and everything, but it's been tumultuous lately. Luca's been out late, running around with a bunch of hooligans, getting hurt.
If there was a Facebook at Duskvol, it's complicated right now, right?
Yeah, it's complicated. It's my Facebook status right now. So Luca's going to knock this time.
All right. So you knock, and you wait a few seconds. You're sitting there with your broken nose, which I imagine. What's one defining feature that Luca has? Not Luca, excuse me. Wow. What's one defining feature that Sawbones has?
Yeah, Sawbones is like a very thin, scholarly man. Like he wears like thick, rounded glasses. He's very like shy upon approach, and like even though he's a doctor, like the sight of blood starts to get him a little flustered. So I imagine as he comes to the door, it's like, "Oh no, come in," kind of thing.
Yeah, he opens the door. Well, he does say come in, but it doesn't come out like that. It's more like he looks at you, he sees your nose, and he says, "Ah, shit, mate. All right, come in, come in." And he steps to the side and he kind of beckons for you to walk in. Do you say anything when you do?
He goes, Luca goes, yeah, I'm sorry about this, Peter. And he sits down using Sawtooth's real name.
You always say you're sorry for it. And he shuts the door behind you. But at least you call it on my actual name, unlike the other asshole around here. So, tea, coffee, opium.
You know, I don't touch that stuff anymore. Not after the accident. He kind of rubs his throat.
Perfect. Well then, water it is. And he disappears down. Well, first you know where to go, right? Because there's just like this awning that leads deeper into the apartment, and you go into like this very rectangular, not living space. This is where he sees most of the patients. You just see like 3 cots. Go ahead.
Yeah, and it's one of those scenes that really establishes like the relationship between the two. Luca's walking through the apartment, and there's like paintings of the two of them together, like one like probably Peter in the chair and Luca standing behind in his blue coat uniform, and they're all like old times. There's nothing new of them together. And Luca kind of like lingers a little too long on that painting, that small like wooden painting of them with the chair. And as he walks away, he tips it down, a little embarrassed of where he's at nowadays. He used to have it so good when he was a blue coat. He ran his extortions. The blue coats were happy, at least until the weeping ladies came involved. He kind of sets down the picture, and he goes to sit
perfect
off of one of the cots, and there's just blood down his jacket. And he finally notices that there's blood on his mink coat, and he just kind of shakes his head and sets down the jacket as he sees that it's ruined now.
You see that Sawbones, he goes into his living space, which is separate from this medical area. And what separates the two is like this prison iron bar door, right? He unhooks it, he opens it, then he opens the actual wooden door behind it because you never know when the people you're trying to save will go berserk on you. He goes through, leaves the bars open because he trusts you, he loves you, right? And he comes back out with what basically amounts to like a mug of water, lukewarm. He gives it to you. He looks at your jacket and he says, "Well, shit, must have been pretty something bad if you're fucking up your jackets now, huh?"
That's all right. I'll get another one. That's fine. Peter.
Well, what is it? Broken nose? Yeah, I see that.
Yeah. I know we've been back and forth on this. We're gonna make our move. Tell me what you know.
The moment you say you're gonna, keep going.
Tell me what you know about
Actually,
the Weeping
no.
Ladies.
That's perfect. The moment you tell me what you know about any of the Weeping Ladies, he grabs your broken nose and he cracks it back in place, right?
Yeah, and there's just
And he
this
shares-
sharp squeal of pain as he does it too.
Mhm.
Ah,
He
God.
pulls back his bloody fingers. Yeah, you've been through worse. And he starts wiping his hands off on the handkerchief. And he puts the handkerchief back and he says, "Tell you what you want to know about the Weeping Ladies."
Come on, Peter. You know that they've been messing with your business too. The sooner I get the Weeping
Doesn't mean I
Ladies
want
out of
you
the night
messing
market,
with
the
them.
safer it is for both of us.
Same rumors I've heard, Luca. You know what they do to people? People disappear. Weird things happen around them. Their kids die. They have a miscarriage out of nowhere. Lose their sight for a week a day. Bullshit like that. No.
No, not the rumors. I want to know facts. Who have you been treating lately?
Yeah.
Who can we put
I
pressure
know
on?
what you want to know. I know what you want to know. I always know what you want to know because you always want to be on the streets doing this whole shit, trying to fucking rob people and extort them and beat them. Huh? Into my pistol is broken. And now what? You want to go fuck with a bunch of prostitutes? They're rich.
Peter, I'm
You
doing
aren't
this for
like
us.
this.
We can have a better
Doing this
life.
for us.
I just need the money together.
We had
When
a
I
better
get
life.
out.
We had a better life when your coat was blue. All right? That's when we had a better life. Not when you were doing all this. And when he says that, you can go ahead and make your sway roll. Sorry, your consort roll. I want to say you're in a controlled position,
Okay.
and the effects, what's underneath standard?
It's gonna be standard. Okay. I would like to modify my situation a little bit. I'd like to go to risky because I
All
feel
right.
like Luca's gonna push the conversation too far.
All right.
And get instead of standard results, get great results.
Perfect. I'm down for that. So
Okay.
just tell me how you push the conversation further and go ahead and make your roll.
And let me apply my one bonus die from the push. Listen, Peter. I'm sorry. I know, but this is for both of us. And like Luca grabs him, and it's not like the conversation is the problem. It's how Luca grabs him that's a problem. Like he grabs a little too hard. There's definitely going to be bruises on Peter when this is done. I'm trying to get our house.
And before I say his reaction, what did you roll?
I seem to have a dice error, so I'm going to do this the old-fashioned way. Give me a second here.
Yeah. Just grab a fistful of dice.
Yep. That is a lone 6. All right, cool.
6. Perfect. You grab him, and your fingers dig in, and you know there's going to be bruises. You know you're pushing too hard, and he knows you're pushing too hard, and he pushes you back, right? With all his thin, scholarly, medicinal strength, he grabs you, and he shoves you back and frees himself. And he rubs his arms, and he says, "Look at you. Fucking look at you. All right, I'll tell you this, all right? I'll tell you what you want to fucking know. Just because I know if I don't, You're probably gonna go get yourself fucking killed regardless. Fucking with this whisper piece of shit and whoever that other guy is, that military man, whatever you want to call him. But yeah, I'll tell you. So, you want to know what? Who I've been treating with the weeping I know about them?
Just give me an in. Tell me where they're weakest.
It's the girls. Those are their weak point. They put a lot of resources in protecting those girls. But all those resources, I don't see them. They don't have pimps walking like that. But the girls have this entitlement, right? Even when they come in, right? They never tell me who hurt them or why they're hurt. They just said it's already been taken care of. So the girls know more than they want you to think. And I think, this is what I personally think, all right? That these girls, if you give them what they want, right? If you just give them money without the sex, or if you just cut the middleman out, give them the opium or the food or the, God forbid for you, a nice jacket, I think it'll be a lot easier to get into the Bordello than you think it is. A lot less violence involved in that.
And Luca kind of like looks at his hands, kind of shocked at his own behavior, and he goes, "Yeah, okay, thank you."
Listen,
Swigs back the drink, just kind of trying to shell up and pull the jacket away. He begins heading towards the entrance.
Back at you. Listen, just don't send no dead bodies this way tonight. Yours least of all.
Yeah, that's always the goal. I don't think our
I imagine
happiness is
as
worth a dead body.
I like it. He doesn't say anything to that. And I imagine I leave. Finally, you turned over and he walks over to it and he grabs at it. And the camera zooms in until it's just a black screen. And when he moves up the alleyways, go to see what Blink's doing. So, Blink, you wanted to survey the area, right? Around the very well-known Thunder Bordello, correct?
Yeah, he's basically just trying to get an eye for, how much space this place has, where the primary entrances and exits are, where maybe some other things like windows are, things like that, just in case they want to be able to get in and out easily or quietly. He wants to be able to find out exactly what this place is like.
On what now? Yeah, nay.
Sorry, what was that?
Yes, no. Am I coming through clear or am I still breaking up?
No, you're clear now.
All right, straight. All right, so last bit, Jeff. I'm sorry, I had to plug in my Ethernet cord.
Yeah, I was just saying that Blink is basically trying to size this place up, see where like the main entrances and exits are, see where maybe like windows are, how big this place is. Just kind of trying to get a lay of the land around here so that they can know all their options when they're trying to get in and potentially out.
Well, the Thunder God sits on the way off of the dock, right? You can see the sea right there. Oh, at all the time. It's a very reputable place, after all. It's probably the most popular brothel on this side of the town, or at least they like to say that they are. When you see the Thunder,
Yep.
I think he said his Ethernet cable was loose or something.
Like, I can't really understand much of what he's saying at all. It's like pretty heavy. I don't know if that's just me, but it's
It's going pretty in and out mixed.
I got
for
where
me,
he
yeah.
was going.
yeah,
But it was
kind of pieced
yeah.
together. But yeah. That's a scummy move, man. Going to your ex/current lover and being like, "Hey, I
You
like
love
it.
me, right? Give me some information so
Yeah,
that I can
yeah.
conduct crimes and piss you off some
Such-
more.
Awful manipulation, like.
Hmm.
Luca is not a good guy.
I mean, that's this setting in a nutshell.
That's great.
Is you gotta get your information however you can, and sometimes that involves doing less than civilized things.
Yeah, I made him the positive relationship, and I was like, Luca's definitely the manipulator out of the pair.
Yeah.
Almost.
Almost.
But it seems like we can buy our way in, so that's useful
Yes.
information.
I did that typical thing that you do when you're new, where you're like, cool, I'm going to do the ghost thing. And I'm like, oh, but I don't know what I want to ask the ghost. Like, he was like, what do you want to know? I'm like, I don't know.
I don't know. Tell me your story, man.
Yep. Like, I don't know how useful it is to know that woman is in charge, but we know now.
It's handy because then we can kind of discuss how to approach her.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if things go bad, we know first.
Like if this was extended over more than one shot, I would probably be like, let's hold off on fighting them until I get Ghost Fighter.
Right.
Because that actually is
Yeah.
pretty handy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's just so laggy.
Yes.
Yeah, just not understandable.
Yeah, not even a bit.